welcome to this exciting final of the LegalTech Days competition. Just a few brief words to explain and to give you some background of what this competition is about. The Law Schools Global League created this competition 6 years ago. This is the 6th edition, and we have been seeing participants from around the world. The three participants, the three startups we're going to see today, are the winners of the 3 local editions we have done this year in Turin by Universidad de Turin, from India, University of Jindal, and from University of New South Wales. Thank you to the 3 finalists who have come all the way to Madrid to present their startups today. I would like also to give a special welcome to Dean Bertil from University of Koç in Istanbul, who came to Madrid. Bertil is the former co-president of the Law Schools Global League, and of course thank you to all of the IE staff, faculty, alumni, and colleagues who have come here to also give their opinion and to support the 3 startups. The intention of the Law Schools Global League, of IE and the South Summit in supporting this competition for startups is, on one side, to promote the intersection of legal services and digitalization, technology and artificial intelligence, and at the same time to ensure a responsible use of artificial intelligence and digitalization in the legal profession, and to ensure that the legal profession takes an active part in making sure that artificial intelligence and digitalization make a positive impact in society.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Diligence. Diligence helps all M&A professionals get from data room to report faster. And for those of you that don't know, due diligence is a process where when someone's acquiring another business, they hire lawyers to search for risks. Nearly 40% of M&A lawyers say that this is the most tedious part of their job. I'm an ex-M&A lawyer and I couldn't agree more. Instead of giving my clients commercial advice, I was mired in never-ending spreadsheets and horrible admin. Diligence improves this process for both lawyers and clients. First, a bit of a history lesson. This was what a data room looked like in the 90s. Piles of documents in a locked office with an exasperated lawyer thrown in. The core value of due diligence is finding a series of needles that are hidden in that paperwork haystack. Flash forward 30 years, this is what it looks like now. The data room has gone virtual, the haystack's gone digital, the needles still need finding. So how do lawyers do this? Well, every data room has a list of documents that's inside, and it's called an index, and this is it. This is the state of the art in legal project management. I used to take this Excel sheet, annotate it with who was going to do the review, and send it around to the team. There's 3 problems with this. First is, the data room changes constantly, and the index is a point-in-time snapshot. On day 1, it's accurate. On day 7, it's not. So the other thing that is slightly problematic is to keep track of notifications. Lawyers, to keep track of changes in the data room, lawyers have to switch on notifications, which means that during one call with the partner, we spoke for 30 minutes, he received 57 notifications about things that had changed in the data room. It's just not okay. The second issue is lawyers can't easily compare versions of this spreadsheet, so they're reliant on technical people within the firm who have to do it for them, and they lose critical hours and days in the heat of a deal. And lastly, because everyone is tracking their progress locally, you have no idea how your team is doing until they turn in their report on the deadline. So, how does Diligence fix this? Well, we take that index and we create a list of documents with customizable workflows. Even better, we automate the syncing with the data room so we can flag anything that's changing or moving so that the lawyers can turn off those inbox clogging notifications. We also make sure that you find out about issues as and when they arise so they don't go stale in the knowledge of the law firm when you could have been working to resolve them. The other problem with due diligence is a lot of the data that comes out of it ends up unstructured in 100+ page Word reports. So what we do is have a review take place on platform where the data is structured and accessible by design, meaning our clients can easily create beautiful visuals like these for the client's C-suite. Currently, they're creating these manually with teams of people who are doing this, but they do it because their clients love it. We talked a little bit about the diligence and the problem we're solving, but what about the team? Well, I'm an ex-lawyer myself. I used to work in M&A. I know this problem inside and out. I also worked for LegalTech scale-up Brighter in the UK, consulting with the world's biggest law firms on automation and process improvement projects. My co-founder Eleanor worked for a venture-backed scale-up called Lexu in the UK, where she developed new processes for corporates to help them with their contracting workflows. And Luke is a 2-time founder and 15-year industry veteran who's our CTO. Now, why is now the time for diligence? Well, there's 3 main factors. The first is more and more there's fixed fee pressure on firms, and so that means if you can be more efficient, you can improve your margins. The second is, with cybersecurity best practice having come so far, it's now secure enough that firms are moving to the cloud, which means that SaaS products like ours can be adopted more readily within firms. The advantage of this is there are returns to scale, so we can build once and sell twice. And lastly, and probably most importantly, which is not working anymore. Oh, there we go, we're back. AI has been used in firms over the years with mixed success because the technology has been really rudimentary. But as we know, the huge leaps in the large language models like GPT-4 means that the ability to generate reports, like the due diligence report, which is a 150-page document at the end of a due diligence, has gone from pipe dream to reality. So generating that report is something that would take 50 hours. We can now reasonably do it in seconds. In terms of traction and where we're at so far, we've only been going for about 7 months at this point, but we're a member of Lander & Rogers LawTech Hub, which is the best accelerator in Australia for legal technology. At the premier legal tech conference in Australia, we were awarded Best Startup of the Year. We've locked in 3 pilots for live deals with national firms in Australia, and we have 8 national and international firms who are ready to beta test. And what about the competition that we're facing? Well, there's a US incumbent in the market, but their product is extremely expensive and requires extensive customization. 2 of its customers are on record publicly as saying it took them 2 and 6 years respectively to implement. It's just not good enough, and we're going to work with simple, beautiful UX out of the box, which gets to the fact that usability is absolutely key, which is something that their customers say is the biggest issue with the product, that it's incredibly difficult to use and hard to maintain. Then you have ecosystem players. So these aren't meant to be used for DD, but they can be. To make them work, you have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on external consultants with lengthy implementations and inflexible solutions. And then lastly, you have data rooms. Data rooms are built to serve the sellers in a transaction, and so they have no incentive to build workflow tools for buyers. The sellers are the ones that pay their bills, and so buyers get left behind when it comes to features. So what about the market? Well, with trillions of dollars of transactions, the total addressable market for us is north of €1 billion. And this is just for M&A. Law firms do similar exercises across real estate, capital markets, and data and privacy, among other verticals. Although we're starting in Australia, we'll quickly expand our global footprint to the UK, APAC, and beyond. And our product can be easily adapted for future verticals because all of these organizations do a data room to issues exercise as well. So all this means that we can halve the senior associate and lawyer time on deals, resulting in savings of tens of thousands of dollars, which means better margins for firms and more affordable due diligence for clients, which leads to our ambition, which is to be used by every M&A professional, not just lawyers, on every deal worth more than $10 million or 10 million euros globally. Due diligence is simply due diligence done better.
So 1 p.m. for a presentation just before the lunch. Not the perfect time for the presentation. But before I start, can I get a round of applause for the whole team behind this project, this event, for making this a success? Yeah. Such a lukewarm response. Can I get a hell yeah from the crowd? Hell yeah, yes. So now when you guys are warmed up, let me start the presentation. So yeah, so Amto.ai. What is Amto? So in one line, Amto is ChatGPT powered legal AI assistant. So we are starting, our main vision is that Amto will be able to tackle majority of the legal tasks and workflows, but we want to start small and do a great job initially. So we are choosing North American market and US specifically as our beachhead and contract drafting as our first function. And once we have mastered and conquered that market, we'll be expanding into other areas as well. So why don't I let Emto introduce herself? Can we have the video playing, please, guys? Little help from the EV team. There's supposed to be a video here, which is not playing. Can we have the video? It's not playing. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah. It's really important to give the adequate respect to AI these days. You never know.
AI legal assistant that uses GPT-4 and other large language models at its core. However, I was specifically trained for legal drafting with the help of actual lawyers from some of the top law schools in the world. As a result, I do a pretty neat job at assisting lawyers like you while drafting contracts. I'm also directly accessible from Microsoft Word. Thus, when I'm around, I can take care of mundane stuff so that you can focus on high-impact issues.
Now I'm back. The problems that we are solving right now. So I have many lawyer friends, you talk to them, the biggest problem they are facing is the insane work hours. Everybody is trying to have a work-life balance, but nobody is able to do that. And with that in mind, most of, I would say 30 to 50% of their time is going into drafting various documents, most of which is routine and mundane in nature, right? The second problem that we are trying to solve is most of the lawyers provide a highly personalized and bespoke service. So the typical template-based solutions won't cut out, right? Because they are trying to meet the specific needs of their clients. So the template-based solutions that are mainly in the market just won't satisfy their need. And the third problem that we are trying to solve is that lawyers as a group are not early adopters of technology. So they really hate switching between different apps to get their work done. They want just one simple thing, one simple workflow which they can master. At the end of the day, the way I look at technology, that it has to be invisible. If you're noticing technology everywhere, we are not doing a great job. And that's our vision for M2 as well. So let's take a typical example, right? So you're drafting a typical NDA. You look at the definition clause, right? And you are not very happy with the scope of this clause, and you want to kind of change it. So normally this is the time I'll ask for the audience participation. But since we are not having that, I'll assume what you guys are going to say. So there are typical two things people say is that either they can, if you're in a big law firm, you'll go for old drafts and you'll say, okay, 2 years back I had this different clause. Okay, this suits the need. You'll go and find that it will take 20 to 25 minutes. Or if you're a small lawyer, you'll probably go online, pay a lot of money and get an online template, which might or might not work, right? Because it might have inconsistencies, it might be incompatible with the jurisdiction that for which you are drafting, and number of other issues. So I let Amto take over and tell you guys how she can help.
With my assistance, you can draft precise and tailored clauses that meet your specific need without leaving Microsoft Word. Instead of combing through old drafts or wasting time finding a template, just tell me what kind of clause you need, and voila! As I have been trained on billions of lines of legal text, you can leverage the collective wisdom of numerous lawyers to draft effective and thorough contracts. You can also share part of the existing contract with me so that I better understand the current context and generate far superior suggestions that match your writing style and preferences. I was designed with privacy at my core. Whether you want to keep it, modify it, or instruct me to regenerate the draft, it's up to you. You are in charge. My suggestions are not just focused on fixing clerical mistakes. I can also help you to write more clearly and concisely.
Yeah, I'm back now. So she's done a pretty good job at explaining what she can do. Just a second. Yeah. So as MTO has rightly said, if you're using MTO, you have to type less, but you draft a lot more, right? Because instead of drafting the whole clause, you just tell MTO what you want and it will do that for you. And because MTO has access to the document that you are drafting, and only after approval may I submit that, MTO by default can't access your documents, but only when you give it share the context, it will have access to the documents that you are drafting. So whatever suggestions it is giving you, it will follow the writing style and conventions that you have followed, right? So if you have used landlord to define in the lease agreement, the clauses that is going to suggest will use that term. And the last thing is, it works where lawyers draft. Microsoft Word, even though the world has moved past Microsoft Word, but lawyers love Microsoft Word, and 95%, more than 95% are on them. So we are directly accessible from them. It doesn't matter whether you are on Windows, whether you are on Mac, it even works on an iPad. So yeah, the world that we vision is MTO and lawyers working in tandem. These days, a lot of people are concerned about AI taking their job. My position on this issue is AI won't replace lawyers. Lawyers using AI will replace the lawyers who are not doing that. So our pitch to a lawyer is very simple. Draft any contract better and 5 times faster. Yeah. So now let me talk about the financials and target market a little bit. So the opportunity that we are focusing on is a 50 billion opportunity. It lies at a very interesting intersection of legal tech and the products and services provided by LPOs or managed legal service providers. Yeah. So there are 20 million lawyers all across the world, at least like in the majority of the world, I would say. Our first primary market is going to be the US, where right now there's more than 1.3 million lawyers. The unique and the best part about this market is, first of all, it's a massive market with a high compounded annual growth. So even it's a 50 billion market, and it's also growing in the range of 8.5 to 20%, depends upon which study you refer to. And the kind of services that we are providing, we are targeting the small and solo practitioners, and also we have a kind of a white glove service for bigger law firms and large legal departments. So that way we are able to market, we are able to target various segments effectively. And that is one of the unique aspects that we have followed. We normally see that legal tech take either approach. Either they will, be like a small SaaS company, or they will be like a very focus on the high ticket items. But right now we are taking a dual approach and getting considerable success in it.
We're up in time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. Just I'll wrap up. So yeah, so these are the things. See, one thing investors are concerned is their concerns can be categorized into technology risk and the execution risk. First, technology risk. If you feel that LLMs and GPT-4 won't disrupt the legal profession, it may sound rude, but you're probably living under the rock, and there are a number of resources on this, so I won't touch on that. Now the execution risk, why we are the best team to capture this market. So first of all, team and its track record. We are two brothers. One is working for one of the FANG companies in the US. I'm a lawyer by training, and we started a venture in the teenage years and like trying to do that again. Second is first mover advantage. We launched in November 2022, and it was one of the earliest products. And right now our product is much mature in the market. We are building our own private LLM, not just leveraging GPT-4 or Palm 2. So we have a competitive advantage, as well as we are able to give confidentiality. We are able to address the confidentiality issues that a lot of lawyers might have. Right. So I'll just touch the competitive landscape of
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Yeah. Okay. So this is Spellbook. They are the next biggest competitor. They just raised $10 million. They claim they have 600 lawyers and legal team. So we have like zero funding, team of 5 people, So like having like 300 would be a decent job, right? What do you guys think? Like it would be a decent job? We have much more than 300. Right? Doing 1200 users would be a good job, right? They have 20 million in funding, we have 0 external funding, double their user base. That will be a good job, right? Right. We have more than 1500 users as of now, and that makes us world's most popular AI legal assistant, despite having 0 external funding. And that's where I rest. Thanks everyone for your attention.
I'm Julia. I represent Zephyrum, the first worldwide webatory, as we want to call us. Let me see. Does it go forward? Does not. Oh, yeah. Too much. We can do that. Okay. Let me start with this very, very happy sentence from Steve Jobs. That is the destination we all share. That is how it should be, because that is very likely the single best invention in life. So far, everybody dies. And the data persistence is becoming a problem, which is destined to increase as the number of online users are increasing now. The pandemic has accelerated this trend, and now all over the world we have plus 20% of elder people online using social media, emails, and cloud systems. As we can see from this panoramic view of numbers, there are now 8 billion people in the world, and all of them are mortal. Of this, 4.5 billion people use at least a social account, and in the Western world, there are actually more email accounts than people. There are no censuses about social ghost accounts. They are so-called ghost accounts because are accounts that are from people who are already died. The only census that we have, the official one, is from Facebook, and it's of 2012. We're talking about 11 years ago. According to the statistics, 150,000 people die every day. What it means? It means that our society, human society, since the beginning of human society, we have developed many ways, many cultures, many rituals to properly say farewell to our loved ones and to protect their body, their integrity, and their memory. We are not doing it online, but now we're conducting the majority, the most important events of our life, even online. Marriages, child, everything about our most important events of life are even on social media. We work with emails. We stock everything on our cloud systems. But so there are many problems at this moment. Digital ghosts, as I said, which are profiles that cannot be protected by the legitimate heirs. That we have some criminal issues, stolen virtual bodies, stolen identity of dead people that are used for frauds and other types of crimes. The pandemic has taught us that we have problems of geographical and physical distances that is very difficult in these moments of life to be present for others. And so, digitally we can solve this. And also, I wish I could, people's will, people's testament and legacy that can be made also for our digital existence, our digital identity. So the obstacles to obtain a digital estate are, of course, emotional, because after the heirs are living a very difficult moment in their life and they don't know what to do. They would like to protect someone's digital identity, but they don't know how. So what people with, the big spenders, what they do now is paying for legal help, which of course they have the right to do. And this legal help needs a specific expertise on data privacy and on these matters. And also, yes, it has cost, it takes time, and it's very difficult. So how to protect our digital estate, how to save our digital bodies, how to become immortals in a certain way. With Zephyrum, we have studied a solution. As we say, we invented the first worldwide webetary, because we help people to establish their digital will in one case, and in case of the heirs, if there is not a digital will, we help the heirs to obtain the legal estate of a beloved one. How? With two methods. The first one is called rest in privacy, and it's a urn, so we respect the will for the will to be forgotten online. And the other one is rest in public. That is what we do after we get the legal estate, is we reunite all the profiles, all the data, all the pictures, the videos, the best memories of a person in one place, which is our platform. And that is protected and managed by us, by our platform, of course, and by the heirs. It's managed exclusively by the legitimate heirs, who can also, remember and commemorate their beloved one. So what we do is these 3 steps: digital death treatment. We treat that as I just said. Digital burial, which can be private. When people obtain the legal estate, they will just download it and it disappears from the web. Or the online remembrance. They want to use those data, those pictures, to remember someone and to commemorate this loving person in their lives. And once they can do this with the mausoleum, even other visitors from all over the world can go and finally say, I don't know, that their condolences. They can keep the memory of this person alive. So the main goal of Zephyrum is actually to make the process of legal estate democratized. Because nowadays it's expensive and exclusive and elusive, because the main data provider, I'm talking about Meta, Google, etc., they're not willing to give the data so easily to people. They have to, because the law says it, and we are acting accordingly to the law. We have studied a standard procedure that is valid for every provider. So the users simply buy one of our products, and then we take care of that. And then we give them what they need, the urn or the mausoleum. As we say, as you can see, our business model is very, easy. We don't have many fixed costs, just the platform management cost. The other variable costs are from the professionals, our consultants, of course, and our workforce of data entry and people who take care of that procedure. Talking about the revenues, of course, directly from the e-commerce, and also we are making deals with funeral homes. When people go where they have already the need, they're suffering, they need someone that can help them in that moment, and so that's why we're doing it now in Italy to start. We don't have competitors yet. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking too long. I know. I'm sorry, I just love my project. We don't have real competitors yet. We are the first movers on the market. The other competitors are partials, like obituaries.com, some pages, or indirects, such as password managers, services for post-mortem usage. The team, because it's important, I'm sorry. It's me, I'm the most ignorant of the whole team in terms of law, because I work in marketing and communications. My co-founder is David Harris. He has a 40-year experience in IT management. Giovanni Battista Gallus is the head of legal. He's the mind who created this standard procedure, and he's part of the National Commission and even now European Commission of Data Privacy. privacy. So he's very skilled. This is his main skill. Diego Iopolo is a vision manager and web designer, and Fabrizio De Maria is also very important because he's a psychologist and he specialized in grief studies. So he helped us developing our ideas with the right words, using the right words, and being, just to not being out of touch. Sorry, I'm done. Okay. We want to expand to EU and US and go global in 4 years. And of course, we're a startup, so we are fundraising 350K, which are mainly going to be used for marketing, of course, because it's an innovative idea.
I would like to start by sharing our profound appreciation of the fantastic partnership that we have with LexisNexis and your generosity offering. As you know, LexisNexis will offer a mentorship program to the winner of this LegalTech Venture Days edition, and we have been doing that for a few editions in a row. It's been a fantastic experience for both of us. Both for the...
I'm grateful. I have to say thank you as well.
Thank you, Sebastian. And I would like to spend these few moments with you talking about the intersection of legal services and artificial intelligence precisely. Within technology and digitalization, I think we agree that artificial intelligence is what is moving faster and is going to have a bigger impact in legal services. And because you're an expert, you are the director of strategy for LexisNexis in Europe, Middle East and Africa. I would like to ask of you, in your experience, if you could give us a short definition of the use of artificial intelligence for legal services. What is this about?
So the biggest challenge will be to make it short, right? There are a lot of actually different artificial intelligence technologies, and we should use the plural actually. There's not one single artificial intelligence. And AI has been around for decades now. I mean, it started actually in the 50s. It even started before that with Alan Turing. It became something around the 50s. We have AI in products, and I would say probably more rudimentary forms of AI. We have had that for decades now. I have an example of, just to give you examples that are attached to use cases in legal. So in drafting, we've been using expert systems, which are very rudimentary. It's not a self-learning AI. It's based on decision trees, but it's been very effective to do contract drafting for more than 25 years. We have products like that have been around for 25 years using that kind of approach. Then you've got what has been more, I would say, on the stage for the past decades, which is what I would call self-learning artificial intelligence. So machine learning, deep learning. So you're no longer talking about expert system that you have, where you have to define everything first and foremost. For example, for drafting, say what clause should be using. You try to train the algorithm to know that by itself, and this is what we've been using for more than 10 years. For example, to do NLP, to do data extraction from cases. We've been using that a lot on case law to extract information, to create insights, and to create case law analytics, for instance. And I mean, if we had had that conversation last year, I would have told you, this is the main case, okay, AI, it's fantastic to automate stuff that a human brain would be doing in a second, right, in a fraction of a second. It's not actually coming from me, it's Andrew Ng in the US, I think the former director of Google Brain, who said machine learning and AI should be used to automate what a human being can do in less than 1 second. And if you take that idea to legal, for instance, we've been doing that exactly. Taking a case and extracting information, insights, recognizing like a date, an amount, a legal concept. This is what a trained lawyer would do in less than a second, right? It's just reading and understanding what it's all about. And that would have been the conversation last year. What has changed with LLM very recently, and LLM are not new as well. We've been using LLMs, large language models, which are actually neuro AI, to do NLP and extraction for years. So it's not an entirely new technology, this generative AI technology. But what has changed that we now can use it properly to do more sophisticated tasks, and especially legal tasks. So coming back to GPT, for instance, because it's the most famous one. It's not the only one, obviously. It's not the most famous one at the moment. You can use it to write a summary of a case, for instance. This is not something that you can do in a second because you need to read the case and then do the summary. We have people doing that. We have had them doing that for decades. Again, if I turn to France, we created teams to do case summaries to create database of cases back in 1972. So we have done that for 50 years, and now we have the technology that enable us to do that more effectively and have those human beings and those trained lawyers to focus on something else with more added value. So that to me, it's a great example of what generative AI can do. It's summary, but we have all the other use cases around generative AIs. Drafting is another good example. I told you we've done drafting. We're doing drafting already with all the type of AI technologies. But the interesting stuff is that with generative AI, we can do it in a more cost-effective way. I mean, even ourselves as a company doing drafting, right? We still have the content, but all the process that we needed to turn that content into like a database, structure information that an AI can use to pick the right clause with, the clause should be tagged and labeled and understandable and everything. We don't need that anymore, right? We can start right from the text that's been created by lawyers, start with our content and push that into generative AI, train generative AI with it, with very unstructured data. And that will actually save us time and money. So it's not only for the end users that generative AI is interesting. Obviously, an AI has been around, again, for quite some time, and we've seen the productivity gains, but it's also relevant for the startups or the incumbent businesses that are there, because it will enable us to create new use cases, new products faster than before.
Sebastian, so these are some of the benefits of the use of AI for the legal profession. We've seen some examples here, and I'm sure we will see a very fast development of new ways of using artificial intelligence in the legal profession. But what are the risks? So what should the legal profession as a whole be looking out in order, as we said, to ensure a responsible use of artificial intelligence to have a positive impact in society? What should the legal profession be thinking about? How to protect human rights? How about protection of the rule of law? Using artificial intelligence to promote access to justice, so to make a positive impact in society through the law. What should the legal profession be looking at here?
It's a great and very important question that you're raising. I mean, legal systems have emerged with civilization, right? So civilization is all about us living together thanks to the rule of law, because we have common rules that we can agree on. And like we said, generative AI will trigger faster innovation, new products, new technologies, but it comes at a price. And there are a lot of potential risk attached. I would say with any new technology or any new approach to a question, there are risks. I will only focus on three, which are, in my opinion, the main ones. Probably not the only ones, but the main one. And especially if we're talking about generative AI, I think everyone in the room has already experienced the AI hallucinations. That is to say, a wrong result coming especially from GPT. And you have to understand what generative AI is all about, especially on generative AI on text, because you have all types of generative AIs, image, sound, data, and then you have text. And so the question is, why do they hallucinate? Why ChatGPT can tell you something that's obviously wrong? And I have a few examples. I asked the other day, ChatGPT, please name the 5 women prime ministers in the history of France. And the question was interesting because obviously it was not asked the proper way, because France had never had 5 women prime minister. France had
Not
2.
yet, not yet.
2 at the moment. And we know that ChatGPT was trained with data up until 2021. And the second woman prime minister was appointed in 2022. So I knew that the data set was insufficient, and that's a key point in the answer. But then ChatGPT told me there were never any single woman prime minister in France. And then the following sentence added, but there were, great woman leader in the field of politics, like Edith Cresson, who was prime minister in the 90s. It's a great example of that because it illustrates the fact that the limited data set means that the answers can be wrong, but even with the relevant data set, it can be wrong as well. And coming back to legal, and with 2 limits related to hallucinations. First, the law is changing all the time. It's a living matter. And so having a data set up until 21 when you were in 23 and the legislation, regulation or jurisprudence, they may have changed, it's not good enough for a lawyer. So you need to have something that you can upgrade all the time, which is a challenge for generative AI because you need to retrain and it's not very cost effective in that respect. So there are ways to do it incrementally, but it's not 100% safe yet. And then the fact that even with the relevant set of data, theoretically, the answer might be wrong because ChatGPT and LLMs are not meant to give you the right answer. They're meant to give you the most probable terms in a sentence, the most probable word. That's the way it works. It's not a search engine. It's not meant to find the most relevant answer or the correct answer. It's meant to find the most probable, the most likely words in a sentence based on your prompt and based on its learning data set. And for a lawyer, that has a lot of consequences and potential limits. And so the best way to limit that is to make sure that you don't use an LLM that's been trained on data that's not good enough, and you need to make sure that you train it on the data sets that's 100% sure. And that's where I think that companies like LexisNexis, because we are publishers, we've been doing that for 200 years now, so we have the right contents, and we think that we can train LLMs properly, like we do for Lexis Plus AI, which is a product that we are currently launching. There are other limits. I know I'm out of time already. I'd just like to just mention them very briefly. There's a key question around IP rights, especially when you have generative AI trained on data sets, trained on the web. It's not because it's accessible for free that it's for free and that you don't have any IP rights attached to it. There are also bias. There can be discrimination related to that. We've seen that in the past. That's a key challenge, especially, coming from our commitment for the rule of law that we share, the 2 of us, and I expect the rest of the room as well. This is something that we need to be aware of, and we need to make sure that it does not happen. And this is a challenge. It's a technological challenge, but it's also a legal challenge.
No, thank you very much, Sebastian, for this conversation on the benefits, but also the risks and challenges that the legal profession should be very much aware of in the use of artificial intelligence. I think the fantastic jury that we have here, which I would like to take a moment to thank, again has reached a decision. Sebastian, if you'd like to read the name of the winner of the 6th edition of this competition by the Law Schools Global League, LegalTech Event Today, year 2023 winner is?
Winner is Diligence. Congratulations. I'd like to say the 3 finalists were fantastic. Yes. You guys are doing awesome products, so keep on.
Please.
Diligence is winning today, but you're all going to win.
Congratulations.
Actually, you won your finals.
Congratulations to all of the participants and the winner.